Nothing is more frustrating than writer's block. A lot of people encounter this in their day-to-day struggle when it comes to creating music, whether you're an artist, a songwriter, or a producer. I myself am no stranger to this, but over the years I've developed some specific strategies that have helped me overcome it. In today's video, I'm going to let you in on these specific strategies and ultimately help you get yourself out of the funk that you may be in. Are you ready? Let's go. Are you an artist, producer, engineer, or music professional that's looking for funding for your music career? Could you benefit from having funding for studio time, mixing and mastering, or even marketing costs? I think I have something for you. I've written a free ebook. It's 9 pages, super short and digestible, where I break down the 6 main places that artists and professionals like yourself can find funding for their musical projects. If this sounds like it's of value to you, please click the link below and you can download this for free today and benefit from this knowledge. I hope this helps. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy 5-Piece producer and engineer extraordinaire. Thank you for checking out today's video, and if you haven't already, please hit the bell and the subscribe button below to stay tuned for more helpful content. I'm dropping a new video every Thursday. It's going to help you do things with your music, such as sound better and make more money with it. In today's video, we're going to talk about my favorite strategies to help overcome writer's block. A lot of people struggle with this, from songwriters, producers, and even artists, and I wanted to overview my favorite strategies to help get me out of any funk I might be in when it comes to writing anything. So let's start with the first strategy. Create limitations. Sometimes I find that we have so much choice available to us. We can use this sound, we can use that sound, we can use this word, I can use that word, and all of these choices lead to what's called choice overload. This is a phenomenon when there's so many choices available that ultimately it leads to us making no choice at all. That's why when you go to certain restaurants, they have a very, very limited menu so that it's easier for you to make a choice. But other restaurants that have a huge menu with hundreds of choices, you'll find you're going to be staring at that menu for a long time, really trying to figure out, what the hell should I eat? The same thing goes for music and creation. What you want to do is try to create limitations for yourself. See if you can find a way to maybe make a beat with 5 sounds or less. You can even find a way to write a song using only a couple of words. If you don't believe me, you're definitely going to want to ask Dr. Seuss. Back in the day, Dr. Seuss made a bet with another writer that he could write a book using 50 unique words or less. That book ended up being Green Eggs and Ham, and he wrote it in literally exactly 50 words. He not only won that bet, but that book went on to be one of his most successful creations. It's an amazing story about limitations and how they can be your friend, so don't be afraid to use limitations to your advantage. Immerse yourself in other art to find inspiration. While on the Tim Ferriss show, Rick Rubin, an amazing producer, mentioned that every artist should study the greatest works of all time, whether it's the top 100 albums of all time or other popularized lists that you'll find on Time magazine and other places. Now, the reason why he was suggesting this is so that artists can develop taste, so that they can understand what people like and what they don't like, and really just determine if someone's actually going to listen to something. It just helps get you closer to understanding what people want to listen to. Now, I like to do this myself. I study music a lot, and I like to actually listen to other songs and really understand what makes them popular or what makes them what they are. So I'll look at things like the tempo, I'll look at the key, I'll look at the arrangement. I'll use these things to inform my own creativity, and I'll even import it into my own DAW and recreate stuff myself. But of course, the end product that I create never sounds like the thing that I was inspired by, which is an amazing little cheat code for every single creator out there. There's also another amazing book that I recommend every artist read. I'm going to leave a link below for it, but it's called Steal Like an Artist. This is an amazing book that really opens your eyes and makes you aware that every single artist or creator in some capacity steals or borrows inspiration from other creators. So I definitely recommend you check that out if you have a chance. Make something and then try to break it. This is honestly one of my favorite strategies. I love to just make a beat and then see what can I do to basically fuck this thing up. Can I change the tempo? Maybe it's 150. Let me see what happens if I switch it to 108. Do I change the key? Maybe I put a pitch shifter on the master and shift it up, shift it down, and see what it sounds like in a different key. Maybe I put a plugin that really makes absolutely no sense on the master or on a specific instrument to create a really cool new texture that I never thought possible. Anything is possible when you do these things. The key is just to experiment and try things and think outside of the box. Don't be afraid of the result, because chances are you're locked in the room on your own and you could do things and no one's going to hear it until you decide to actually put it out. Collaborate. There's this quote out there that 1 + 1 = 3. There's an amazing thing that happens when you work with somebody else on music. Usually that person, they're going to approach the creative process way differently from yourself, and that can actually inform your own creative process. I find that whenever I collaborate with somebody, I learn something new, I learn a new approach, I just figure out something that I didn't once know previously. And I think that's an amazing benefit to collaborating with other people. The other thing too is you could feed off of somebody else's energy, right? You could be in that room with them and you might not be as inspired, but they could start the beat and then you suddenly have a bunch of ideas and you can roll with it. And that can help get you out of the funk that you may find yourself in. Don't think too much. Now, a lot of artists and creators, we have this tendency to be overly conceptual, and I find that that's problematic because you start with this expectation in your mind, and expectations can generally lead to disappointment if you aren't careful. Sometimes you sit down, and I've done this too, where I'm like, I'm gonna make the most diabolical trap beat that everybody's gonna wanna listen to, and then I'll start making a sad piano beat. And that piano beat may be very well dope, but because I'm sitting there overthinking and trying to make this other thing that I think I should be making instead, it ultimately leads me to never finishing the first beat. This can obviously be problematic, and that could lead you to just not completing anything and finding yourself stuck in a rut when it comes to making music. You want to avoid this by just creating freely. Go into the studio, make music, try to do things, and don't be too hard on yourself. Don't worry too much. Just try to do something. There's another tip too that I read in this book, Atomic Habits, which is a book really about building helpful and healthy habits, and it's called the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule means if you want to do something and you're struggling to do it, just do it for 2 minutes. So if you can't write, open up the DAW and just poke around for 2 minutes. Try to play something on the piano, do it for 2 minutes, and then close it. You're going to find that eventually it's going to be very difficult to close the DAW after 2 minutes. You're going to be starting something, you're going to be inspired, and you're going to want to see that thing through a little bit further. And as you can imagine, that's going to lead to more creativity happening afterwards. Create often. Now, this is something that I really do believe in. I think that artists, producers, songwriters, you need to be creating stuff basically daily, every single day if you can, even if it's just a little bit. Think of it like exercise. A healthy body is supposed to be moving at least 10 to 15 minutes every single day. You want to do the same with your music, and I like to think of it like this. The reason why I want to create daily is so that it becomes a habit, and not only that, it helps me just know that I can always deliver. If I'm constantly creating music day in, day out, then I know that if Jay-Z or if Drake or if somebody that I really respect and admire calls me into the studio, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be prepared. I'm not only going to have a lot of beats ready to go, but if I have to make something on the spot, I will have done it so many times habitually that I should just ultimately do it no problem in that moment. So there's a lot of benefits to creating regularly. You're going to build a bigger catalog as a result, and you're just going to have better habits too. Make decisions. When you think about it, if you don't make decisions, if you don't commit to stuff, then you're never going to finish anything in life, whether it's music or something else. When you're making a song, it's literally a collection of making decisions. Okay, I'm going to commit to this sound. Okay, I'm going to commit to this pattern. I'm going to commit to the drums being here and the snare being like this. You have to commit in order to actually finish things, and you have to be able to walk away. A lot of mixers, especially when you look at engineers like Phil Tan, they never say that they're satisfied with their mixes. They just get it to a point where they're good enough to walk away from it and not feel too bad. Every artist needs to be like that. They need to figure out how they can just, commit to something, be done with it, and move on to the next thing. You're always going to be able to make more and more music. And instead of being so hung up on this one track, try to get it done, figure it out, commit to it, and then move on to the next thing and repeat the process over and over. And as you can imagine, momentum will take over from there. Be curious. I'm a big believer in questions and asking the right question. I think Tony Robbins has a quote, "The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions," because questions are just amazing creative prompts. And I find myself, whether I'm on my own or with a collaborator working on something, I'll always ask, what if we did this? What if we did that? What if I pitched the drums up? What if I put this on the master? What if I played this and reversed it? Things like that. You just ask these questions and you're curious. You're just trying to see what happens if you do things. You're going to end up with some really cool creative possibilities that you probably wouldn't have just thought of naturally. You have to push yourself outside of the comfort zone that you're in and just be curious. Try things to ultimately get to a better destination than you would have been anyways. Minimize input. Now, this is actually the opposite of the previous point that I made, but sometimes you maybe are consuming too much information. We live in the era of information. You can find out anything you want to know. You just have to know what the hell you're looking for. But sometimes getting too much of this is very influential in your life and can lead to some negativity. So if you're constantly listening to all kinds of music, that music could be inspiring at times, but sometimes it could be clouding up your brain. It could be making you overthink, be overly conceptual, feel like, hey, I gotta make a track like Lil Baby. Hey, I gotta make a track like this. But maybe you aren't supposed to be making tracks like that because you are your own unique person. The other thing too is this is overly stimulating for the brain and it kind of wears it down. We benefit greatly from solitude. And solitude is being disconnected from information and disconnected from any sort of input, period, whether it's books, TV, other people. You want to get rid of that. And when you get rid of that, you're allowing your mind to actually rest. It's not going to be overly stimulated. It's going to basically not only, recover and repair itself, but it's going to allow you to think more clearly because now it can connect ideas together that'll ultimately help you in life, whether it's in music or maybe other things. So if you're really struggling, it may be a good idea to minimize input and just take a break, recalibrate, get your stuff together, and then come back another day to start again. So these are a few key strategies that I like to use when it comes to being creative and trying to get over writer's block. I know it's a very frustrating and common problem sometimes, especially when you're making music on a regular basis. So don't be afraid to try these strategies and let me know how they work for you if you do end up using them yourself. If you got value out of this, I would really love for you to share this with somebody you know, somebody who would benefit from this knowledge, and definitely subscribe and hit the bell button so you can stay tuned for more helpful videos on the channel. Like I said, I'm dropping something every week on Thursday, and I'm looking forward to helping you again soon. Peace out.
5